What's up, everybody? It's Foxtrot Gaming here. I'm gonna go over our overview of our Minutemen Stronghold that we built here in Fallout 4. The Minutemen Stronghold that we've done for this playthrough consists of 3 settlements. It consists of the castle, Sanctuary Hills, and the Red Rocket truck stop. We're gonna go ahead and we're going to show off the castle first, then make our way to the Red Rocket truck stop, and finish off with Sanctuary Hills. So starting off here at the castle, we do have a couple mods installed. A list of the mods installed will be in the description down below if you want to check them out. They're all free. They're all part of the Bethesda Creation Club content. So as you can see, we have green grass here. And turning around to see the castle, we have a mod that restores the castle to its former glory. And obviously we have Preston here walking along the outside. And let's get started with this review. So walking up to the main pathway of the castle, you're greeted by a concrete wall that runs all the way pretty much around the entirety of the castle. We have a couple Minutemen statues out front, as well as some flags, just to distinguish that, you know, this is the Minutemen castle, this is a Minutemen stronghold, so nobody get the wrong idea. Coming up the stairs into the main courtyard. So the main courtyard, these doors can actually be completely turned off if we have any attack. We'll just drag Preston in here real quick so he doesn't get stuck outside. Or he just wants to get stuck outside. Okay, that works too. But yeah, if we see, say we see an army of super mutants or an attacking force of synths coming down the road, we can go over to this handy generator here, power it off, and now this is a powered door, so now no one can get in or out until we reactivate the generator. Well, we reactivate the generator, and again, this wall goes all the way almost around the entirety of the castle. We have some trees just for some beautiful foliage. We have 2 watchtowers at either end of the entrance for our guards to look out, make sure no threats are approaching. We're going to start around the outside, make our way inside. More details are on the inside than the outside, so that's why we're going to start outside. At the main gate here, we have the Brotherhood flag, a Minutemen flag, and a United States flag, because in this playthrough we are allies with the Brotherhood of Steel. We do a lot of trading with them, we help each other out, so we wanted to make sure any settlers, anybody that comes here for trade purposes, they know, hey, you know, if you try and screw us over, we've got the Brotherhood behind us. We back them as well. So if you fight one, you fight us all. We do have lights around the entire perimeter of the outside and inside of the castle. We have a couple turrets here on the outside just for that added effect. Some of these trees, beautiful trees. These are part of a mod that, again, will be in the description down below. This is our farm area with all of our crops. We have all of our potatoes, mute fruits, corn, razor grain, plenty of carrots. We did not plant any gourds or melons because they tend to take up a lot of room, and it is hard to get them to sink perfectly into the ground. And I just don't want to see floating melons. That's just not something that you want to see. But this is our farm area. It gives off plenty of food for the castle and for the Minutemen inside. Moving around to the back here, this I did not build. This is part of the castle rebuilt mod that I have installed. This is a little dock. Unfortunately, as you can see, the boundary does not reach all the way out, so you can't build anything out on the dock. This little section right here is about as far out as you can go. And unfortunately, everything out here is all static objects. These are all static barrels. you can store things in this tool chest back here, as well as this boat. For roleplay purposes, you could say that this is the boat that ferries supplies between the castle and the Brotherhood over at the Boston airport. Unfortunately, it is a static boat. It cannot take you anywhere. It does have a couple storage lockers where I just have some just random guns, random mods and stuff inside.
Glad to hear it.
You guys are great. Yeah.
Don't know why random settlers keep talking to Preston. We are doing this after we have taken down the Institute. We have finished the main storyline, so the Minutemen do control the Commonwealth at this point. You can see more of those accent lights we have going around the entire perimeter of the outside of the castle. A Vault-Tec reactor, which helps power part of the castle. Our water purifier. And over here, this is one of our first exterior buildings that we built. We built 2 exterior buildings to this castle build. We have, this is a Minutemen barracks slash recreation area. So you come in here, Minutemen have plenty of beds for anybody that, say, is deployed outside the castle, maybe the guards that are up in the guard towers, people that work overnight in the garden. This is where they stay. And they have plenty of storage on the walls with these little shelving units, bedside tables with radios, as well as some fans. Of course, furnaces are essential. This game does take place in Boston after all. Winters can get brutally cold. We have some arcade posters from the Nuka World arcade. A little rec sitting area for the Minutemen who live in here, just to kind of chill out, relax, have a nice look out toward the ocean. This gives you a nice, much better view out toward the ocean. You can see Fort Strong in the distance, the Pridwin and part of the Boston airport, and just barely make out the tail end of Spectacle Island. So, and then a pool table for Minutemen to, you know, unwind, have some fun. There was, okay, I was going to say there was a pool cue. Don't know where it went. It's right here on the side of the table. Exiting through the other door, we have lights on the outside of this as well. And I used some people might question why I decided to use the vault buildings for this instead of going for more of a scrappy look using, you know, either wood walls or just steel walls. I wanted to give the Minutemen the impression of living in somewhat like a pre-war style build instead of just having them live in the muck and the slums. As you can see, again, this concrete wall goes all the way around the castle, except for there is a small area over here. This area of the wall, we did not build it because the likelihood of enemies being able to scale this part of the wall is slim to none, as well as it would have blocked off the windows for this barracks, so we didn't want to do that. We wanted to give the Minutemen a nice view out to the open waters, irradiated as they may be. Coming around the back entrance of the castle, we have more of these beautiful trees. I love these trees. It adds just that little bit of modern flair to it, if you will. We have some shooting ranges here for any of our Minutemen to practice their aim, as well as 2 more watchtowers to watch over the backside of the castle and look out toward downtown Boston. Nick was supposed to be stationed on one of these, but he just kind of just hangs out, just kind of walks around, just talks to random people. And again, this door is also powered as well. You can turn off this generator, and now no one can get in or out. Going around the other side, this is our... So, the armory inside the castle is no longer the armory. The armory is now outside of the main walls. You may think that's dumb, but just wait until I get inside and I'll show you why the armory is no longer the armory. So the armory is out here. This is an armory slash weapon workstation and power armor station. So we have our power armor suits that we've collected so far in this playthrough, including the Vim Pop power armor, a mostly complete sugar bombs, Minutemen T45, Hot Rod T45, our Brotherhood T60, and the other Vim Pop T51 that we get from the Far Harbor DLC, as well as an XO1 suit that we just randomly found. But we have plenty of weapons all over the walls in case the castle ever gets attacked. Yeah, looking at these walls, we don't ever have to worry about any sort of attack. We have plenty of defense for the castle. But yeah, this is the castle's armory. Moving back around to the front of the castle, we'll make our way inside. First to our reception area. This is a check-in spot for any traders who come to the castle looking to seek trade. Any settlers who want to settle down here and join the Minutemen. This is where they can sit in here and do their processing. We can have somebody, most likely somebody like Preston or Ronnie Shaw, somebody that's high up in the Minutemen, to kind of do interviews, make sure that the settlers that are coming are the right fit for the Minutemen. Then once you make your way inside, this is the castle rebuilt. As you can see, all of the walls are completely rebuilt. There are no fallen walls, which was, I believe, this wall was a problem, and then the back wall was completely collapsed. Those are no longer issues. So first off, let's go upstairs, up to the top. We built this additional stairway over here. I mainly built this just because as I was building these watchtowers and stuff, I got tired of falling off the side and having to run back in and go up these stairs. So I was like, you know, screw it, let me build a side stair. Going up the side stairs, though, we have, these are our watchtowers. This style of watchtower I got inspired by another YouTuber, a great Fallout 4 YouTuber by the name of Shazo. Go check his channel out. He does all kinds of builds for settlements. I got this this watchtower build from his castle rebuilt video. And it is a powered watchtower. It uses a 4-level elevator, and you can actually take it all the way up to the top, and it provides a great view for if you have snipers. You know, say you have somebody out here with a sniper rifle, they can keep an eye on much of downtown Boston. Even getting a much lower rendered scale, but a view out toward the Boston airport, you know, view out toward Fort Strong, Spectacle Island, and whatnot, as well as a great view of the inside of the castle itself. In case we're ever actually attacked and people get inside, we can have snipers and marksmen set up in these towers, taking the enemy out from above. Coming back down, though, we have these fences all along both the inside and outside of the castle walls. That was for 2 reasons. For one, it prevents anybody from, you know, falling off the sides, you know, breaking a leg, breaking your neck, getting hurt. But it also provides a nice area where, you know, you could have Minutemen up here running PT. You You could have them up here doing calisthenics. You could have them up here using this as like a running track, an exercise area. And it just overall gives it that old-timey, you know, Revolutionary War feeling that these kind of tri-forts would have. We have our artillery pieces with fire barrels just to give whoever is on the cannon a little bit of warmth. Going down, we have our second watchtower down here. Second artillery piece back this way. And then going over here, we have a special little area. This is a chill little hangout spot for the Minutemen. We have a couple grills up here where you could grill Mirelurk meat or rad stag meat or whatever else you have. Curie, I'm trying to do something, Curie. You need to go away. And yeah, there's just a fire pit up here. And you can have Minutemen just sitting up here. Curie, go away, please. Yeah, you can have people just sitting up here, you know, having a good time. You know, after defending the castle victory. You know, you could have a party up here or whatnot. And making our way down, we're going to start over at one end and make our way all the way to the armory, the former armory. So coming in here, this is our cafeteria for the castle. It may not look big, but I assure you it is big enough for what you would need. You have 2 cooking stations, 2 refrigerators, a Nuka-Cola machine, a couple pre-war style Edotronics for, you know, if people say somebody makes some food and they forgot something in their bunk, they can set it in there, keep it warm until they get back. Just a couple tables for people to sit down, enjoy, have fun. Pictures, posters on the wall, just to give it a little extra character. And then we have an ice cooler and a milk vending machine. Making our way down, we have a clothing station for people to buy clothes at. I eventually plan on putting a couple other stores in these areas. I just haven't got around to it yet. And then we have a bar headed up by the one and only our friend the Vault-Tec rep. This is, as a matter of fact, the Vault-Tec rep that you see at the very beginning of the game. If you are unaware, yes, the Vault-Tec rep survives the Great War. You can find him in the Hotel Rexford in Goodneighbor. And you can set him to one of your settlements. Over here we have the General's Quarters. So this is where I live. We have a fairly simple headquarters. You know, just a bed, side table with a radio, some storage units, and then armor racks for some various parts of armor. And of course we have our entrance to the tunnels. And we have our bobblehead stand too. Making our way further down, this is an open area. I'm not sure what to put here yet. I might just leave this area open. Now these are 2 special little rooms. As you can see, these say lavatory. And yes, these are a little bathroom area. You know, you can't build a base and not have places for people to do their business. So it's not, you know, there's no individual stalls or anything. You're going literally military style, commodes lined up along the walls. But I feel like that would fit the Minutemen perspective more. And then over in this side, you actually have a shower room. And I put the rubber mats on the floor just to kind of give it a different look, to make it look like you're not, you know, when you're showering, you're not standing on, you know, ice cold concrete. And fun fact, these chemical showers actually are functional. As you can see, I left some rads on my character down there in the corner. If you walk over to one of these chem showers and you rinse off in it, one simple rinse, and it will take away all rads. And I've tested this all the way down to having 999 rads, and it takes all rads away. No matter if you have one, all the way up to max, it'll get rid of all rads. So yeah, I figured that was a good use of these areas. This is a little, just kind of a little storage area. We have a arcade for the Minutemen. This is one of every arcade game in the game. You get these with the, I believe with the Nuka World DLC. And you actually, these are not just for show. You actually can use these. You can actually sit and play these. Automatron is my favorite to play. It's kind of, think of it like a Galaga kind of thing. You know, you kind of just sit and shoot the Mr. Handies, or well, I guess they're Mr. Gutsies in this phrase. And then you'll also have you'll have Assaultrons to destroy as well. I'm not gonna sit and play the whole game because those kind of games can go on literally forever. Shoot. It seems we're stuck on a stool, so we're just gonna move that out of the way. Over here is the inside Minutemen barracks. This is a little bit more bare than the external one. I wasn't really sure how to decorate this one per se. I was gonna put a bunch of dressers and stuff in here until I realized that these beds kind of have drawers underneath them. Obviously they're not functional, but it still fits for the aesthetic. And then for these beds over here, we did go ahead and give them a dresser. And we just gave them a radio, some speakers, you know, for Minutemen to listen to music, chill out, you know, have a good time. And then finishing off this side, down here we have a little weight station with apparently a ghost lifting weights. That's a common glitch that I see almost daily in this game, ghosts lifting weights. It's just the pre-war Minutemen who died here. They're still lifting weights. And then, yeah, that will take you upstairs, back out toward the cannons. And that's the inside of this part of the castle. As you can see, now that it's getting more dark out, you can see the lighting that we have around the outside here of the castle. Not sure why Preston keeps running up to me, but... And then over here is our area for our Minutemen. I guess you could call him a DJ, but he's really a radio operator. And he just has a kind of a standard little bunk area. He has a bed here, little bedside table with a radio and a furnace. Nothing too fancy. This building isn't big enough to really do a whole lot with, so we just gave him a little something special for him. And we have a fusion generator, as well as a Vault-Tec super reactor. And fun fact, this is that open area of the wall. This may seem like it's a non-defended area. I could put some turrets over there, but if you jump up on the Vault-Tec super reactor and you get up here, there is a laser turret out here that watches over that doorway. So, not the greatest defense, one single turret, but it's enough. And over here, where the original armory was, this has been transformed into Preston Garvey's personal headquarters. I figured, even though I'm the general of the Minutemen, Preston was there long before we were, and more people throughout the Commonwealth, as I've been traveling with Preston, a lot of people recognize him. They idolize him. They want to be like him. So I figured he could be the figurehead of the Minutemen. And as such, he deserves his own personal quarters. So these are Preston's personal quarters. Starting off on the left, over here we have a sitting area. This is an area where, you know, me, Preston, Ronnie Shaw, some other Minutemen, this is where we could, you know, put some maps out on the table, run some battlefield logistics, you know, figure out what tactics we're going to use for what missions we're doing, what settlements we need to help, which ones we need to resupply, and so on and so forth. He has a nice bed and a nice dresser, and obviously, again, a heater, a couple lockers, a pre-war television, which we found still operational. Unfortunately, all it says is please stand by. There's no TV stations running anymore. He has his own automatron arcade machine, so he doesn't have to go all the way over to the other side of the castle. A Christmas tree, just to kind of fill in this area. I didn't want to have open space. And then Preston has expressed before that he enjoys reading about, you know, pre-war history and stuff, such as Proctor, I believe, Quinlan aboard the Pridwin. I'm not sure. I haven't done too many of the Brotherhood missions, but we gave Preston a nice little reading area where he can sit and just read books or read, you know, battlefield reports or such. And, you know, this room wasn't big enough for the armory that I wanted to build. And I didn't want to just leave it as a blank space. So I was thinking, what can I do with this area? And I had already had the general's quarters already built. So, and I was running with Preston as my companion. And I was like, you know what? Let's give him his own quarters. So he doesn't have to just, you know, sleep in a random bunk. And he actually enjoys it. He sits in the chairs over here. He doesn't really read anything because he can't. But, yeah, role-play-wise, we can make it seem like that. And, yeah, that is our view of... That's our tour of the castle. That is our tour of the castle. And then there's this one random Brahmin. For some reason, sometimes it's alive, sometimes it dies. Half the time it's floating in this wall. I don't know how to fix that, but we'll just say we have a Brahmin. Excuse me. Yeah, and there's this area over here. At night, this is a really cool little area with the oil lamps lit up and the fireplace going. It just gives off a cool little vibe to it, you know. And we're gonna sleep real quick before we travel to the next stop on our tour. And while we're waiting for the time to go by, I just want to express that this build has taken about a month of constant progress. Sometimes working hours per day on this build. Just, you know, trial and error, building things up that thought they looked good, turned out they didn't look good, so we scrapped the entire thing and restart again. And just another view from the outside as you're walking up to the castle. You know, if I was a raider, or, you know, obviously super mutants don't care and ghouls don't care, but if I was a raider or a scavenger and I was looking to pick a fight and I walked up on this place, I would seriously reconsider attacking this place, you know, with the small watchtowers, the large watchtower, the walls going all around, and just, you don't know what's inside, so it makes you really cautious. But anyway, Let's move on to our next stop along the tour to the Red Rocket truck stop. Hopefully the game does not crash. Okay, good. Last time I tried to fast travel here, the game crashed on me, so let's hope that doesn't happen in this video. Here we are on the outside of the Red Rocket truck stop. Again, we have a Minutemen flag, US flag. We don't have Brotherhood flags on this one just because we're so far away from the Boston airport that it's unlikely the Brotherhood comes up this way. But we do have a turret on the outside. Another random Brahmin. I don't know why they're constantly here. But again, we have this completely walled off. Watchtowers around. Not sure what that is or why it is floating. That wasn't here last time. But making our way inside. Excuse me. We have, once again, a chill little sitting area for some settlers to just sit under cover where they don't have to worry about being rained on. As well as we have our watchtowers. And this is part of our living space for the settlers over here. Very standard, just a couple beds in here. Not really anything too special. As this is not a main settlement-wise. This is just kind of a forward operating base, or an FOB, if you will. Unfortunately, I could not get the water out of here, fortunately. But yeah, it really adds to the whole FOB part of this, where, you know, we couldn't completely finish the walls in concrete, so we had to makeshift them using just, you know, some metal beams, metal walls, hook them up to the pre-existing bushes and everything, and use some scrap walls and such to finish it off, just to give it that security to it.
Lost track of how many blisters I got.
Okay, there are water pumps over here for plenty of water, as well as we have an additional big garden up here. This garden can help supply other settlements around, such as the Abernathy Farm, the Starlight Drive-In, and the Sunshine Tidings Co-op. Making our way up top. We'll go up top before we go inside. This is where we built another Vault-Tec reactor up here. This is what powers the... This is what supplies the Red Rocket with its power. I figured it kind of fit the aesthetic, you know, of having a rocket ship up on the roof. We could throw a reactor up on the roof. I thought it just kind of blended in well. Coming down now, going around and inside. If Preston will move, please. We just have a couple more beds in here. Again, this isn't meant to really be too big of a thing. It's just a forward operating base. It's not a long-term fortification. And then in here we have just a couple more beds and a cooking station and just another Minutemen T-45 power armor here. This is just for, you know, last-ditch defense if raiders are attacking the Red Rocket. Somebody can hop in here and really take the fight to them. Probably this dude right here. But yeah, there is that. And again, this is also, funny enough, powered by a powered door, so we can turn off the generator. Now no one can come in or out. The only difference is, unlike the castle, this is the only entrance or exit to the Red Rocket. And then, instead of fast traveling and worrying about the game crashing, we're going to go ahead and just run to Sanctuary. I do have a mod that fixes this bridge and restores it to its pre-war glory. Unfortunately, though, the mod causes the game to permanently crash every time I have it installed. So I decided not to use that. I did not want to lose all of this progress. Coming over to Sanctuary, though, you're going to see a lot of vault buildings here, as well as another powered doorway right here. Again, turn it off. Nobody can get in. I say nobody can get in. I mean, you could still kind of get in by just cheesing your way of jumping over these barricades. But if we knew an attacking force was coming, you'd have people here, you know, shooting at you the entire time, so it wouldn't be really feasible. Starting off, we have a Minutemen flag draped over the Welcome to Sanctuary Hills sign. We have a turret here, a couple turrets here, as well as a Vault Tech watchtower that you would see up by like Vault 111. You can't shoot out of these like you can the watchtowers at the castle, but it'd be easy enough for somebody to just come stand out here and fire at any incoming enemies. This is our security room, also known as the armory for Sanctuary Hills. Not as big as the castle armory, but there are plenty of weapon workshops, armor workshops. We have an Enclave XO2 power armor here. This was hard to get. But we're leaving it here. We did take the fusion core out, though, because settlers will jump in these and they will get them destroyed. And again, there's plenty of security here. We've got, you know, spots on the wall for weapons. You can put weapons in those lockers. Give me just a moment. Let me go get a drink of water real quick to soothe up my throat. Nothing like a bit of fresh H2O. So moving over to this next building over here. Actually, as you can see up here, we went ahead and we actually made somewhat use of the pre-war houses. I knew I wasn't going to build in them. I wasn't going to build on them, because I didn't want to have to try and work around rebuilding the roofs, rebuilding the walls, all that kind of jazz. So we actually took the ones that had carports or garage style areas, and we made them into little shooting areas for our Minutemen. And each carport actually has a shooting range in it. All these pre-war houses, we completely scrapped everything in them that we could scrap. There's nothing in them. If we could have scrapped every pre-war house, I would have, because I'm not going to use these. There's no point in using these, I feel. Over here we have our cafeteria. This is a much larger cafeteria than at the castle, because Sanctuary Hills is a bigger settlement than the castle, so I figured bigger settlement, build bigger buildings. Funny enough, though, I might have messed up on this one, though, because I only put one cooking station here. So that's a little overstep on my part. But yeah, this is the cafeteria here at Sanctuary Hills. There you can see again, every house that had a carport has a shooting range. Sanctuary Hills also is completely walled, 100% all the way around. The only way in or out is over the main bridge. I did that because Sanctuary Hills actually, if you build it up high enough, you can get attacked by a massive group of gunners. I learned the hard way doing that, and this group of gunners, they can be very powerful. The first time they attacked, I was in the middle of actually building the cafeteria, and I heard so much gunfire, I was like, you know, what is going on? Turn around, instantly died, lost all the progress I had, was quite upset about it, so I decided let's wall the entire thing around. It took a lot of concrete to wall this place all the way around. I mean, I must have cleared Myrna in Diamond City out of concrete at least a dozen times to go all the way around. But the wall does go all the way around, except for the areas that were already using these pre-existing hedges. I figured we would just leave those and just get the walls as close as we could to them. Glad the sun is coming up. Now you can actually see better in here. We have a couple of those nice, beautiful trees. I originally had both of these little center sections between the sidewalk and the road on both sides lined with trees going the entirety of Sanctuary, all the way up and around. It caused the game to bug too much though, so I decided to scrap that idea. It looked really cool, it looked really beautiful, it kind of gave off a pre-war community vibe to it, but again, the game just did not want to cooperate. So I figured it was best to just scrap the whole thing and move on. Nice to see Trash Can Carla back again. Over here we have our food for Sanctuary Hills. We have plenty of corn, plenty of potatoes. Again, now you can see what I mean by the melons kind of seem to just kind of hover in the air. I hate that look, so, I mean, they're there. But we have some razor grain. We have some carrots around here somewhere. It's hard to see at night. Over here we have our water pumps. As well as this was our main little building. This is where Mama Murphy sits in her chair next to the workshop. This area is blanketed in carpet because before we built all the buildings, this is actually where we had Mama Murphy, Sturgis, and the Langs living in here. Then we began to scrap the houses and build these little vaults on top of the existing foundations of the pre-war houses. I figured that was a decent use of that space. So this is house number 1. Plenty of room for Minutemen. This is also where Dogmeat lives. Dogmeat, I decided to keep him here in Sanctuary just because it fits more with him being here as we meet him at the Red Rocket. And you know, this is just kind of on the smaller side, but it works. Again, you can see the shooting ranges. Working our way around. We have 2 more buildings to show off. I did not put a shooting range right here as I was trying to make this wall work. This little section of wall was a royal pain in the rear end to try and get this to work. So I decided not to put a shooting range here because it would not just cooperate properly with me, so we decided against that. This over here is another residential pod. Much smaller, barely decorated. I figured this would be a reserve area, kind of, for just people passing through. And then over here we have the lavatory, which we have, again, plenty of commodes along the wall, plenty of sinks. I eventually planned on lining this side of the wall with chemical showers. Just never got around to it. The chemical showers take a lot of just off-the-wall resources that are hard to come by, so you can only build a couple of them at a time. But yeah, that's our... And I figured this would be... The castle is the strong point of this fortifications for the Minutemen. The castle is obviously the most well-defended, most well-rounded settlement. And I figured, you know, Sanctuary Hills, it's not as good as the castle, but it shouldn't be as good as the castle either. Because the castle, in itself, in its name, it's quite literally a castle. The Last Castle, if you will. Great movie, by the way, if you haven't seen it. Robert Redford, James Gandolfini. If you have not seen the movie The Last Castle, definitely go watch it. It is a great movie. But kind of that kind of view of it, The Last Castle, you know, but if something did happen to the castle, Sanctuary Hills would be the emergency fallback plan. So we gave it just enough for it to be that last-ditch fortification, but not too much to where it's like, oh, you know, this is just the castle, just not in the shape of a castle. And then the Red Rocket truck stop is, again, that's just a forward operating base for, you know, if something did happen to the castle and everybody made their way back to Sanctuary, if the attacking force was to follow us back, they would have to attack the Red Rocket first. And if the Red Rocket got attacked, we would know about it as close as we are. So it would be just a... Think of it like a signal fire burning in the distance saying, hey, the enemy is coming, you know, better prepare. And vice versa could also be said the other way. If Sanctuary Hills winds up somehow getting massively attacked, everybody can file down to the Red Rocket. And then as people are making their way down, we can have a reserve force here at the Red Rocket, you know, holding the line, while everybody else, you know, makes their way to Starlight Drive and, you know, down to, you know, Overland Station, Vault 81, to make their way down to the castle. But that's our castle, that's our Minutemen Stronghold tour. Again, this has been about a month in the making. And the build is not completely finished yet, but this game likes to crash so many times. I've lost my saves so many times and had to go back and redo so many things that I wanted to go ahead and get the tour out of the way before anything happened that would cause me to lose more progress and then have to go back and try and do everything again. So I want to thank a couple friends of mine that gave me inspiration for different areas of these builds. They know who they are. I wouldn't have been able to do this without their support, without them constantly. I would send them pictures of builds and they would help show, you know, whether it was a smart build or not a smart build. So I want to thank them. And I just want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching this. And again, maybe this will give you inspiration if you're playing Fallout 4, whether it be for the first time or a long-time player, and you just want to try something new. Yeah, that's the key with this game. You can do so much in this game, so just make it your own. And, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching. Again, description or a list of the mods will be in the description down below if I can get all the names to the mods that are installed. They'll be in the description down below. And yeah, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in for this little view of my build. So thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.